When it comes to Capcom's licensed games, you probably think of DuckTales, Aladdin, and I don't know, maybe even Yo! Noid. But one movie adaptation you may not remember is Little Nemo, the Dream Master, a 1990 Nintendo Entertainment System game based on a film co-written by Christopher Columbus and directed by the guy who gave us Super Mario Bros. Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. To help celebrate the 30th anniversary of Little Nemo on the big screen, I wanted to take a look at both the NES adaptation and Capcom's oft-forgotten arcade game. Turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to spoil the story and ending for Capcom's Little Nemo games. This is Game Over, the early years. You know how they tell kids to never take candy from strangers? Well, I'm not sure Nemo got the memo. You see, one night he's visited by a purple-haired messenger and told that a princess in a far-off land has chosen Nemo to be her playmate. The young boy is initially not into playing with the girl, but the carney has candy and a convincing argument. Nemo decides to go, but only under one condition: no kissing. I don't know who this messenger is, but they were a damn liar. Instead of taking us straight to the princess, we get dropped off in the mushroom forest and forced to fight through 8 insanely difficult stages in order to rescue the good king of Slumberland from the wicked king of Nightmares. I mean, I'm happy to help and all, but this kind of information would have been nice to know before Nemo got plied with candy and tricked into being a hero. The mushroom forest makes way to the flower garden, where little Nemo realizes that he can ride a gorilla by giving it candy. He can trick most of Slumberland's animals into helping him, but there are times he'll definitely want to go it alone, such as when he's riding on the train in the House of Toys. This is a challenging obstacle course full of spikes and toy airplanes. And just like that Denzel Washington movie, this train has no interest in stopping. But don't worry, this is all a dream. A fact this game reminds us of in between every stage. The Night Sea sends us underwater because it wouldn't be an 8-bit action game without at least a little swimming. He can ride a giant fish, but that doesn't explain how he's able to breathe underwater. Is any of this even in the movie? No, it's not. Our next stop isn't as magical as a mushroom forest or spike-filled toy room, because it's just a slightly enhanced version of Nemo's house. Boring. But at least he gets to bounce around in a frog suit for some reason. We eventually get to the top of the house, where Nemo escapes and starts jumping on the rooftops. He's determined to find the ruins in the clouds, which ends up taking him to this topsy-turvy level where everything is upside down. It's here where Nemo is finally clued in on what's going on. He meets Princess Camille, who explains that her father's been abducted by the evil King of Nightmares, and Nemo's the only person who can help. Despite making it through 7 of the toughest 8-bit stages you're ever gonna play, Nemo isn't convinced that he has what it takes to defeat the King of Nightmares. But Camille knows that all he needs is this magical Morning Star weapon. To be fair, this is at least true to the original movie, but I fully understand Nemo's reluctance. I mean, the Nightmare Land is just the worst. It's filled with lava pits, giant birds, and ceilings made of spikes. We eventually make our way to the King of Nightmares and unleash the Morning Star. Here's what happens next. Released only a few months after the NES game, Nemo is an arcade retelling of the 1989 movie. It's a slightly more straightforward affair, which is to say that it's a straight-up action game where we use that magical morning star to clobber foes right from the very start. In this story, there's a whole group of messengers who show up to recruit Nemo, and there's no mention of a princess wanting to play with him. They seem a little more on the up and up, though I'm not so sure they fully reveal the amount of danger Nemo will be in. Once in Slumberland, we fight through such fantastical levels as a police station filled with attacking toys, a sky level bouncing on big balloons, and oh yeah, a conveyor belt. Hey look, it's another train ride. Long story short, we eventually get to a giant door that takes us to the Nightmare Land, which starts off with a ride on a boat fighting off sea monsters. This leads us into the Haunted Forest, with more than a striking resemblance to the Ghouls and Ghosts series, followed by a nightmare castle and a fight against the evil king himself. It's a hard-fought battle, but we eventually win, and here's what happens next. Oh, come on! Nemo only had one request. One request! He's a brave little kid who didn't want any of that kissy stuff. And what does the princess do in both endings? Yeah, I guess it's a good thing that it was all a dream. Which I guess means that it's time for little Nemo to wake up and, let's be honest, probably forget everything that happened while he was asleep. I mean, that's usually how my dreams go. For what it's worth, the original film ends in pretty much the same way. Nemo saves the day and Slumberland celebrates. The big difference? When the princess goes in for that kiss, our little horn dog Nemo reciprocates. I guess they didn't want to put any of the explicit stuff in the games. As a quick aside, this little bit right here with Nemo in the Haunted Forest is a fun parody of Ghouls and Ghosts, which Capcom had released only 2 years prior. That's exactly what it looks like when Sir Arthur powers up his suit of armor. Only here the little boy gets electrocuted. It's a little out of place in this otherwise serious ending, but I love it. It's a great Capcom callback. It's just one of the reasons why Nemo is great. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, the early years. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we're going to go back to posting new episodes every Monday starting next week. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite Capcom game based on a movie or show? It could be any licensed property, really. And there are a lot to choose from, including all those Disney Afternoon games, Alien vs. Predator, G.I. Joe, UN Squadron, and even Willow. Can't forget about Willow. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we have a wrestling-related quiz going live on Friday, just in time for WrestleMania 2019. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.